Welcome to the River Rally 2021. This session is part of the Organizational Capacity Learning track of our 2021 conference. Please meet our presenter. Welcome, everyone. I am Michelle Colopy, Executive Director of Lead for Pollinators. Our mission is to provide leadership, education, action, and development. Lead. To support the sustainability of honeybees, native pollinators, and the keepers of the ecosystem. You can learn more about this nonprofit at our website. Feel free to email us with any questions, and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This presentation will discuss the benefits of collaborating for projects, education, and social change. There are more than 1.5 million nonprofits in the United States supporting or advocating for a myriad of issues, causes, and projects. Current social awareness and demands for change are highlighting many factors that have kept similar purposed groups apart due to racism, gentrification, poverty, education level, economic status, and more. Maslow's hierarchy of needs shows us all living beings need three basic things: food, water, and shelter. That collaboration for basic survival, food, water, and shelter, shows us collaboration is critical to simply living. Through collaboration, we can learn from others how an issue impacts them and their environment. We expand our own point of view by collaborating, and we strengthen our community by collaborating. I will discuss these points as well as the value of setting guidelines and expectations when collaborating, understanding that compromise can make change, and that defining strategy is the best communication toward success in your project or action toward environmental and social change. You may have an issue, whether it is clean water, loss of habitat for wildlife, waterborne diseases, invasive plants, or human health concerns, in which we are all connected. This connectivity is the opportunity to build alliances, develop collaborations, and maximize the opportunity to make change, increase education and awareness, and secure grant funding opportunities through collaborative efforts. Grant funders favor collaborative activities. When 4 groups come together for a project, bringing each group's matching funds and staff and volunteers and a broader viewpoint to an issue, funders will increase their funding for a diversely supported, broadly needed project. This past year has truly brought to the forefront, more than other years, the social and economic issues America has tried very hard to rationalize for centuries. History teaches us environmental justice issues have been with us since the landing of the Pilgrims, from the Native Americans being exposed to diseases as a weapon to the development of industrial cities ghettoizing immigrants and people of color. Where I live in Akron, Ohio, the city grew based on the direction of the wind. As the rubber industry expanded in the 1900s, homes for the wealthy were built upwind of the factories, with the rubber workers suffering the downwind deposits of soot and smoke in their neighborhoods. Growing up in Southeast Ohio, African Americans were relegated to living near the slaughterhouse. These historic land use patterns continue today as people in floodplains live in constant risk of homelessness, homeowners downwind of chemical plants suffer health issues, and both experience low home values, poor water quality, and more. The environmental movement is holding its own reckoning of a sort, examining the lack of diversity in their ranks and in their advocacy. Many of our environmental groups say they are grassroots, and yet do not realize grass only has a 3 to 4 inch root base. Environmental activism has not been inclusive of all living organisms, plants, insects, animals, and humans that are impacted by an issue. We need to collaborate like native plants, which break up hard-packed soil with deep and wide roots and supports a root system that welcomes and collaborates with other living organisms. When we collaborate, we include the small neighborhood group directly impacted by an issue or project, and we build a stronger, healthier community for all. Simple projects such as planting trees and supporting the maintenance of fully grown trees is valuable. A study in Baltimore showed a 10% increase in trees, roughly equaled a 12% decrease in crime. Through a collaboration of groups focused on trees, advocates for clean water, healthy communities, diverse birds and thus insect pest control, and yes, even beekeepers, can come together to ensure diverse trees are maintained, and in this case, pollinator-supportive trees to replace any dead or diseased trees. NGOs, environmental and agriculture groups need to step away from their ideological silos and see the connectedness of the ecosystem and include diverse groups of humans collaborating for a common cause. Stepping out of one's comfort zone may be difficult for some, but all water flows downstream, and so do issues and problems. Focus on your mission. Serve your mission. Collaborating is really just working well and playing well with others. As you examine your own mission, you will see the interconnectedness of your work with other groups. You will learn how their mission addresses concerns of their constituents. For example, sewer and stormwater management impacts those living in the floodplain, the poor, or those living in older housing. In my community, the city finally agreed to the EPA mandate to cease dumping raw sewage into the Cuyahoga River during rain events. The city has constructed a number of storage basins, such as this one, to collect 2 million gallons of stormwater and sewage. As like most cities east of the Mississippi, the city has combined stormwater and sewage pipes. The collection basins hold the stormwater and sewage until it can be processed at the water treatment plant. However, in constructing these basins, they were built following the natural flow of water, which followed the historic oldest developments in the city. The construction, the creating of huge tunnels and these large basins caused damage to many homes in the area. The 24-hour, 7-day-a-week construction made the area unlivable for many, and yet it was their home, their neighborhood. How do we work to advocate for lifelong residents whose houses are being damaged by an activity that protects the water for all? A single issue is not related to one solution, nor does it have a singular impact. We must take action together. The local, state, and even national environmental groups need to reach out to the neighborhood groups and listen to their concerns and support their actions. The single issue of a neighborhood group seeking safer streets may have developed due to new sidewalks installed, and all of the trees were cut down. And as we have learned, trees help to reduce crime and provide so many benefits to neighborhoods. In collaboration, we work with and learn from each other to bring awareness to the problem and provide solutions. Those groups comfy with protests and marches, let them do that, but support them in their action. Not all members of the coalition have to participate in all partners' actions. All of the collaborators do what they do best, but support a united front and act in a strategic and collaborative manner. Strategy is about taking your message to policymakers and the community, so it will reach everyone. Even when working on a honeybee bill in Ohio, the Farm Bureau joined with beekeepers, even though beekeepers and the Farm Bureau have not had a good relationship. The beekeepers set that aside when we both agreed on the issue. Collaborations allow you to utilize the strengths of each group or individual and work for the common goal. Lead for Pollinators has been part of a coalition for going on 2 years now. Local groups take the lead, but national groups as well provide support and some gravitas to the issue. Collaborations can be formal or informal. The group can define a broad plan or work on small tasks at a time. A policy change here, a state bill there, in order to move the issue forward. In any collaboration, all members must participate consistently. Missing conference calls puts a coalition member behind and weakens their input to the group effort. Nothing happens fast. It may be months or years, and all participants need to understand the timeline of the collaboration. The collaborators need to discuss the expectations of the group members in order to secure commitment. The coalition members also will want to decide if the coalition will be public. Will you have a logo, a web page, a social media presence? Will that public coalition cause marketing or fundraising concerns for your own organization? Or will the coalition enhance your nonprofit's standing in the community and with policymakers? Discussion internally in each collaborator's own organization is important when making these decisions, and some participants of a public coalition or collaboration can remain private. Again, just determine these parameters at the beginning of the collaboration. The collaborators must work together to determine the purpose of the collaboration, their goals, objectives, target population, in order to make change. Use the strengths of each group for strategic tactics. And lastly, everyone must agree upon what will be success for the collaborative effort. Success for your nonprofit may be to remove all dams in the river. But success for the collaboration may be to remove dams in those cities first that have access to funds to pay for the removal of dams. The collaboration is a beginning. Sometimes we start small, we secure little wins on our way to bigger successes. Always welcome the serendipitous and outside your coalition support, such as with our Mosquito Coalition. The Utah Physicians for a Healthy Environment recently released a report on the ineffectiveness of mosquito control pesticides and the health concerns posed by dousing our communities in chemicals. Your mission may be about water only or pollinators, and this report focuses on the impact to humans. No matter. There is science in this report to support the collaborative effort. Promote it, support it, recognize and praise the group who conducted the research from which you and your coalition will inevitably benefit. Maintain an openness in the collaborative effort for various viewpoints. It helps connect your message to a broader audience and further supports your message through additional science and action. Collaborating with other groups does not mean you have to participate in all actions developed by the group strategy. The strengths of a collaboration reside in our different approaches to addressing issues. While one group may focus on conducting protests, your educational group can support the effort through your specialty of educational programs. Setting the guidelines and expectations of each collaborator's participation is key to successful collaborations. We all have to answer to our boards and our mission, but we can work with other groups in order to make the needed change and use our strengths to encourage that change. My metaphor of paddling upstream without a boat when we do not collaborate is reflective of a story told in The Effective Activist. As activists, we are all in different boats, yet headed for the same horizon. A world where we can live without violence or repression, where we coexist with all living organisms. The goal is not for all of us to be in the same boat. We could never build a single boat large enough to carry all of us, and we do not have any more time to waste sitting in the harbor. However, let us not be impatient, headstrong, and foolhardy by grabbing a piece of driftwood and jumping into the water on our own. All of us need to be practical and realistic, collaborating to learn from others and share our message. We need to stock our boats with research, with personal stories, with ideas, and have support to regroup when we hit rough waters. While we may not agree with how our fellow collaborators are steering their boat, we certainly do not want to sink all of us in an egotistical quest to prove whose boat is the best. Through collaboration, we learn from each other. We work toward common goals of clean air, water, soil, and a place for all to live. Whether you are new to social activism, to issue education, to addressing community environmental problems, or you have been at this a while, refreshing your practices and ideas is important. Most importantly, reach out to other NGOs. Seek other local, state, and national groups working on similar issues. Contact them, call them, email them, Zoom with them, and maximize your impact for a healthier community. Work with other groups to clarify the issues. Listen to others and how the issue impacts their lives. Create a collaborative strategy. Then take action as individuals and as members of the collaborative. Celebrate the little wins. Celebrate each other's work in this joint effort. NGOs must collaborate as we work for a healthy, equitable, and just environment, biologically and socially. Find others who will bring boats and paddles, and maybe even a sail, and let's collaborate. Thank you for joining me for this presentation, Paddling Upstream Without a Boat. Collaborating is the best strategy. If you have any questions or want to collaborate with Lead for Pollinators, contact us via phone, email, or social media. Stay connected to the River Rally Network through the conference community and social media. Mark your calendar today for the 2022 River Rally in Washington, D.C. Thank you for joining us.